appear before you this day to take the solemn oath that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will do the best of my ability to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah, yo.
Hi, I'm Kelly Ripa, and this is my co-host, Michael Strahan. And you're watching Live with Kelly and Michael.
Today in the presidential elections, the Republican and Democratic candidates will be debating issues from the election of 1856.
But before, you need to know what was happening at the time.
1856. As Franklin Pierce's presidency was fading, political parties were disintegrating, just like the nation. The Whigs were in disarray, with a northern anti-slavery faction deserting to form a new party, the Republicans. Slavery once again dominated the election, with Republicans rallying against any slavery expansion, while Democrats, whose motto was anybody but Pierce, refused to nominate their own president. The anybody they chose was James Buchanan, a dull politician who seemed likely to offend the fewest voters.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Fallon's great-grandfather, Johnny Fallon. And today we have with us presidential candidates James Buchanan and John C. Fremont. Mr. Fremont, can you tell me a little about your up-and-coming Republican Party?
Why, I'd be delighted. You see, we're a pretty classy party. We're made up of Northern Whigs and anti-slavery Democrats and Free Soilers. The Kansas and Nebraska Act has brought such shame to this nation. It goes against the Missouri Compromise, which bans slavery north of the 36-30 line. My party is against the expansion of slavery. My opponent's party is severely divided on slavery. How can we trust a candidate to unite a nation when he can't even unite his own followers?
Ouch! This is a very good question.
Mr. Buchanan, what can you tell us about your party's positions on the affairs of the United States?
Well, actually, I am considered the only national candidate. Yes, my party is divided on slavery, but at least we represent the entire nation, not just the North. I myself have come from the North, but have many colleagues in the South. So yes, I can win in the North without forgetting about the South, like your party. The U.S. can only be united if the government considers the North and the South. And well, the numbers in my favor do not lie.
Excuse me if I do say that I'd run the first anti-slavery campaign. Some people like you do not have morals and not remain humane.
Advancement of our domestic slaves in civilization has far surpassed that of any other portion of the African race. The light and the blessings of Christianity have been extended to them, and both their moral and physical condition has been greatly improved. The slave is treated with kindness and humanity. He is well-fed, well-clothed, and not overworked. Both the philanthropy and the self-interest of the master have combined to produce this humane result.
Very well said, Mr. Buchanan. I understand that you, if elected president, will move to arrest the agitating question of slavery in the North.
Yes, this is true. Let me ask you this. What would be your situation, fellow citizens, if Negroes were admitted to an equality of political and social rights with white men and white women? The subject is too disgusting, and I recoil from it.
If we do not allow them anything, then what does it say about the white men? It says we do not follow rules and we have gone against every act ever created, like I mentioned, which you kindly went around and avoided. What about the Kansas-Nebraska Act that completely disobeyed the Missouri Compromise? How can we build up a nation filled with shortcuts and bended rules?
James Buchanan was a Democrat from Pennsylvania, but he sympathized with the Southerners in slavery. He thought that the slaveholding Southerners who wanted to secede had no right to secede, but they were more sinned against than sinning. He thought that Northerners ought to compromise with them.
The Democratic strategy worked. Buchanan walked away with all the southern states and 4 northern, just enough to win. He didn't have an overwhelming mandate, but the 65-year-old Buchanan did have the qualifications to become the 15th president.
He'd been Secretary of State, he'd been in Congress. In fact, he'd spent the previous 4 years before his election in 1856 as American minister to Great Britain.
Buchanan was apparently insufferable. Andrew Jackson hated him so much that he sent him as far away from Washington as he could.
About the pressing issues of the election of 1856, let's see what our current presidential candidates think.
The institution of slavery is the second worst thing to ever happen to this beautiful country, the first being Obamacare. During this particular election, we confronted the ugly face of slavery. I am greatly saddened by the slave owners' use of the Bible to enslave the African American people. But with this delusion, there was no clear opinion on how to deal with slavery. And I just want to take the time to apologize if my face has given any of your kids nightmares. It still happens to mine too.
There are many similarities between the presidential election and the election of 1856. As far as slavery goes, what happened back then was atrocious and a complete injustice to our nation. Why? I would never want immigrants today to be treated remotely like that. Yes, they're immigrants. They're people too. Yes, if the people of the U.S. could just give one more tax dollar to them, I'm sure they will stop abusing the government programs we set up for them. I mean, we do not want history repeating itself with these tyrants, Trump, running the government for their benefit and forgetting the lower class immigrants or even the rights of slaves. Furthermore, my plans would have worked out. They would have worked out right for the slaves. My plan would have worked out during the election and it will work now, just as long as I don't get caught sending classified emails ever again.
Well, I've always been a supporter of equal rights to all. I even walked with Martin Luther King when I was younger, unlike Hillary, who was in favor of segregation. And it upsets me, the disgusting economy they had back then. I believe that all people should have the right to make money, not just rich plantation owners. So the South was just as corrupt as Wall Street is today. Their whole economy was built on greed, and I wish a president would have stepped up sooner to the horrific institution of slavery. But anyways, free slaves and college tuition for everyone!
Hi, I'm Donald Trump, and this is my lovely wife, Milani. Before I start this off, I'd like to say, let's make American grapes again. As you know, I've had huge success when it comes to dealing with foreign affairs. Shh, Milani, it's okay. In this great country of ours. Fact is, all of these candidates are idiots. They could never deal with the problems that I deal with, like ISIS. You know, you need the real guns. I mean, the answer was right there in front of them. Build a wall! If there were a wall, the slaves could have never escaped and there would have been no need for this Fugitive Slave Act.
So do you think America elected the best man to handle this job?
Frankly, I don't. I mean, he was a really nice guy, but he was an ugly coward. And I have it on good authority that he left the country during the Kansas-Nebraska Act because he didn't want to state his opinion on slavery. I can't believe America would elect such a liar. I mean, who could not answer a simple question on their political standpoint on an issue?
Okay, then you wouldn't mind doing the same by telling us your position on abortion?
Looks like we're out of time.
Well, we appreciate all of the candidates for joining us today.
Thank you for watching Live with Kelly and Michael.